Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. I just got something wonderful in the mail this weekend. It's the Jean Noblet Tarot from Artisan Tarot, and I've been looking forward to this for a while. It's a very small deck, surprisingly small. Okay, I knew it was going to be small when I received it, but actually holding it, I'm surprised at how small it is. And so, for those of you who have small hands, for those of us who keep saying, this deck is too big for me because my hands are so small, this is a perfect deck for you. It's also a great deck for those of us with larger hands, and I'll show you why when I turn the camera down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap this, and I'm going to do a side-by-side with my Jean Noblet from Flornoy. And they're both redrawings of the Jean Noblet Tarot, one of the earliest tarots, considered type 0 by many, which means it's in and of itself. And it's quirky, and it's fun, and it's exciting. So while neither of these is a facsimile, we'll get an idea of what two different artists, modern artists, saw and redrew when recreating and cleaning up the Jean Noblet Tarot. Let's take a look together. Hello friends, we are back and we are turned down, and I've got the camera zoomed in as much as I possibly can, I think, so that we can see the cards clearly, these petite cards, these ditty little cards. And I've just taken off the plastic, that's it. So these cards come in this lovely tuck box. Now, you probably know that I am not a tuck box fan, but this is a nice tuck box. And you will be able to see that this box, when it opens, and I believe it'll open fairly, well, okay. I need to do my little trick with my scissors. Just a moment. Let me get my scissors. So if you have a tuck box that is difficult, well, that you want to protect the closure on, one way to do it is to use a letter opener, or if you don't have a letter opener, you can take scissors, use the dull end of the scissors, carefully slide the scissors under the flap of the tuck box, push the dull end up to the front, and carefully lift. And then do the same thing on the other side. Insert the scissors with the dull end facing the edge of the flap, move the scissors towards the flap and lift. And there you go. All nicely opened. The funky little flap on the tuck box is protected and we're good to go. Now this tuck box, like the tuck box for the Nicholas Conver deck, also has this wonderful feature where the top flips down this way, making it easier to pull the deck out. Yeah? Not many tuck boxes have this good feature. So, again, not a fan of tuck boxes, but if it is a tuck box, this kind of tuck box is wonderful. And you'll see that the backs of the cards match the pattern on the tuck box. So, what do we have? We've got the box, Artisan Tarot. Here is their website. Very simple, plain. Here's the barcode if you want to see that, for the Jean Noblet Tarot de Marseille. So let me put this aside and show you some of the goodies I got with this deck. Not many. We've got a card for Artisan Tarot. This came from the velvet pouch, which I'm about to show you. And then we've got a nice little Ace of Wands card and an Ace of Cups card. And both of them, on the backs, have information about Artisan Tarot. Yeah, Artisan Tarot, thank you for backing our Kickstarter campaign. We hope you'll love our goodies. May your deck bring you many, many meaningful readings. Sorry for my clumsy hands. And the back of this one gives you the information for their Discord chat room, a QR code here. So there are those little goodies. I love these little cards that they get or they give us. And then there is the general Artisan Tarot advertisement card with le mat, le fou, le folle, le faux, and then this guy. Check out our other decks, and I highly recommend them. I will have a link in the description box below so that you can go and check out this deck, the Nicholas Conver deck, which has already been released, and I have a walkthrough of that video. If you're interested in that video, I'll try to put a link to that one in the cards above. So let me show you the wonderful little velvet pouch that I purchased with this Kickstarter campaign. Yeah, very simple, but very elegant, yes? So this will fit beautifully inside of here, I believe, and let's see. It's nicely finished on the inside. Yeah, you see nicely lined with the same pattern as the back of the deck. Yeah, fits in very nicely, very snugly, but not so snug that it's difficult to put in or take out. And the flap comes down, and the deck is now beautifully and elegantly protected. This is a wonderful, wonderful feature. I believe these are still available. So take it out of the pouch, and one more thing that came with this. I love this. I love this. The button that came with this deck is from the, can you guess which card this is? Yes, it is the Hanged Man, Le Pendu. I love the Hanged Man in the Noblet. This is one of the reasons that I love this deck. The Hanged Man, the Fool, Le Faux, or is it Le Mat? I think it's Le Mat. And also the Moon, and a couple of other major arcana cards are just delightful for me. And one of them is the Hanged Man. Can you guess why the Hanged Man is special to me? Can you guess why I love this card and I love having this button? I bet you can. So we're going to set the cute, but look at that tongue. Isn't it fabulous? So, and the red hair and the hands just sticking out. Neener, 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 like, I love that. Okay, so setting that aside, and we will get into the deck, and I will also pull out my copy from Flornoy. So I will put this here. Let me just check to see where the Fool is, where Le Fauve is. Okay, Le Fauve is on the top of this deck. So let's see. Let's see if I can do it this way. The Fauve. And then let me pull out my Noblet from Flornoy. Just a moment. I'm sorry. I have forgotten that Artisan Tarot ships their decks in a very unique way. Their order of the deck is very unique. They start off with the major arcana, as usual, but when we get into the minor arcana, the order is odd. They start with the tens and work down to the ace, and then the court cards for that suit. Instead of being from ace to 10 and then the court cards, it's a little bit wonky. So I put this deck in order, and I put my Flornoy in order, so we're ready for a side-by-side. Now, my Flornoy it didn't come in this. I purchased the matching leather case for it, and I love this matching leather case. It's gorgeous. I love it, love it, love it. So if you're interested in a leather case for the Flornoy Noblet, I'll put a link in the description below so you can check that out. This is wonderful. However, I also, again, love my velvet bag for the Artisan Tarot Noblet deck. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so let me take out the Noblet from Flornoy. And this is what the backs of the Noblet from Flornoy look like. And this is what the backs of the Artisan Tarot Noblet deck looks like. You can see they're very similar. But you can also see that the Flornoy deck is larger than the Artisan Tarot deck, right? So here is Artisan Tarot, here is the Flornoy, yeah? The Flornoy is taller and wider. However, they're very small compared to a standard US Games Rider-Waite-Smith deck, yeah? Standard US Games Rider-Waite-Smith. Flornoy Noblet, you can see quite a bit smaller. And even smaller than that is the Artisan Tarot Noblet. So we're looking at a very small deck. However, the good thing about the cardstock for the Artisan Tarot deck is that it's very thin and very flexible. So even though it's very small, it will shuffle beautifully. I'm certain of that. So let me put that there. Let me put this here, and we will get into it. Let me turn my Flornoy over to reveal Le Fauve. And I will take the title card off of this so that we can see, well, if you want, we have first edition 2000 decks, Tarot de Marseille, a faithful restoration based on the tarot printed in Paris by Jean Noblet, 1650. Now, I said that the Artisan Tarot deck is going to be easier to shuffle. You can see by height. Can you see it on camera? Not so much. Let me put them side by side. Yeah, the cardstock for the Noblet from Flornoy is much thicker. It's really cardboard-like, whereas the Artisan Tarot deck is more playing card style cardstock. So you can see right here, although I'm not being very pretty about it, you can see that the Noblet from Artisan Tarot is much thinner cardstock, and it's also much more flexible. It's going to be a dream to shuffle. I know this because it's the same cardstock as the Convert deck from Artisan Tarot. So here we go, Le Fauve. Here we go into the deck, yay! So you see that the deck from Artisan Tarot has a border, a much relatively larger border than the Flornoy. Also, the background colors are very different, right? The Flornoy from, what is this called again? The Noblet from Flornoy, the Flornoy deck, has this beige background, whereas the Artisan Tarot has this white background, a very stark contrast to the image. The contrast in the image from Flornoy is a lot softer. This deck from Artisan Tarot has much stronger contrast, and you can see they've seen things differently, right? You can still see the man bits on both of these decks, which is one of the reasons many of us, I think, love these the Noblet. You see this little creature going to attack the poor Fauve, whose privates are revealed. But you'll see that here we have leggings that kind of make sense. And here we have, it's hard to see what's going on with is this skin? Is it legging? What is this yellow bit here? It's hard to understand what's going on as far as what are clothes and what is skin in the Flornoy deck, and even more so in the original facsimiles. You can also see the color palette is different. Yeah, the skin tones here are pink and salmon color as well. So what do you think? Is this salmon color his skin tone, or is it another pair of pants inside of his leggings? I think that's up to you to decide. However, basically we've got very, very similar designs for the clothes. We've got similar hats, although again, the color palette is different. I just love seeing the man bits hanging out there under attack. It's wonderful. Oh, and also you'll notice that the staff looks like it has a face here. And Marilyn from Artistry of Tarot, no, not Artistry of Tarot. What is her? Well, I will put a link to her channel as well. She sees these walking sticks, the faces on these walking sticks, as being reminiscent or a representation of an Italian play, and she'll describe it much more clearly than I could try to describe it to you right now. But so we see a kind of face, a fool's face in the walking stick here, which is an interesting addition from the original. And we go to the magician. Look at that. Le Batelier. You'll notice the poor spelling for Le Batelier. We have LL Batelier, which is in the original. You'll notice that Artisan Tarot decided to extend or complete, perhaps, the wand for the magician, which still looks a little bit like man-bits to me, although the Flornoy kept the truncated wand in their deck from the original, which looks even more like man-bits, does it not? I mean, all these quirky little details, I think, are just phenomenal. We've got dice on the table, we've got cups, we've got something that looks like it might be out of a modern-day science class or for organic chemistry. We've got a purse. These decks are just so clever and so cute. And here we have La Papesse. La Papesse, yes. Her clothes in both of these are actually fairly easy to understand to me. But Artisan Tarot decided to simplify the coloration, the color of the clothes, which is a fabulous choice. We see the crown, the papal crown, which goes up to perhaps 3 tiers above the border. We've got the whiter looking face here than on here. The face is whiter in the Artisan Tarot than it is in the Flornoy. And we have l'Impératrice. L'Impératrice. Look at the expression on her face. Isn't that fabulous? We've got, let's see. Yes, Artisan Tarot simplified the colors of her clothes, which is fine, which is wonderful. We still got that quirky, somewhat drugged-looking expression in her eyes. We got the scepter. Instead of light blue, we've got grays in the Artisan Tarot deck. But again, this is all choice, right? And here we go with, I love did you notice the red eyes on the shield of the Empress? They were also here. And then the red eyes in the shield of the Emperor. I love those red eyes. Emperor, yeah, same shape, same form. Instead of light blue, we've got gray. Love the hats on the Emperors in this deck. Hat, helmet, you decide. Here, le pape. Love the freakily long fingers on the acolytes, the supplicants in front of the Pope in both decks. Again, the Pope's garments are simplified, but we've still got the crozier, we've got the crosses on the, perhaps, gloves on his hands. The beard is a little bit trimmed down in the Artisan Tarot deck. This beard looks a little bit longer to me. Here, his chin looks longer and the beard looks shorter. Love the supplicants on both of these. It's actually easier to see the face of this supplicant here than it is to see the face of this supplicant here because of the red of the cloak that the Pope is wearing. Love these cards. Love these cards. Now, frankly, the Flornoy deck is difficult to shuffle because the cardstock is stiff and it is thick and it is small. And I love to riffle shuffle, and the Flornoy deck is very difficult to riffle shuffle. However, again, I'll show you how easy the Artisan Tarot deck is to riffle shuffle. We got l'amoureux, the lover. Notice that the Cupid is blindfolded, yeah, and the color of the Cupid is a little bit different, but it's easier to see what is Cupid and what is not in this Artisan Tarot rendition. Easier than it is to see in the Flornoy. I mean, what is this yellow here? Is that Cupid's arm? Is it something else? Who knows? But I love these decks. Really, really love these renditions of this deck. We can see the crown of flowers on this female figure, and we can see the crown of bay or laurel leaves in this female figure very clearly. We can distinguish hair and headdress in both copies very easily. Love the expression on the guy's face, don't you? Love Cupid. Just love. Look at that cute little butt. And the burst of energy around Cupid on both decks. But I like the blue face here, but I also like the continuous flesh tone from face to body. And here we go with Le Chariot. Now we have Jean Noblet, the J represented by an I, as it is in Latin. Jean Noblet, Jean Noblet. We get the two different colors of the horses, which is fabulous. We got the expression on that charioteer, humph kind of look on his face. We get the type 1 kind of crinoline, or the bunting at the top of the chariot. Yeah, we've got, now they've got dark in the back and lighter red in the, we've got dark blue in the front and lighter red in the back here. Yeah, I guess it's just all color choices, right? The color choice on the Flornoy is more in sync with the color choices of the original, probably, that they were looking at. Just as you can see the chariot, there's this kind of beige color here and this blue, whereas in the Artisan Tarot, they've decided to color the chariot all one color, so it's easier to see. Love that we've got the blue horseshoes and the red horseshoes here, distinguishing the two horses even more. Lovely decks. Lovely, lovely decks. And that was number 7. This is number 8, Justice. You notice that they decided to carry this color of the gold on the scales up to the strap holding the scales, whereas Flornoy decided to keep these, the bar and the strap holding the scales a different color. We can see through the scales here in the Artisan Tarot, whereas it's all gold in the Flornoy. The expression on her face. Those itty bitty irises and the big, big eyes. Love the crown. Ah, it's just wonderful. Love the bodice on both of these dresses. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And l'ermite. So, what do we see? I love that they decided to keep the inner cloak light gold, so that we get the idea of perhaps of the lantern light shining within. Yeah, the light is shining within, also shining without, to the outside. You'll notice that the Artisan Tarot decided to continue the lines of the floor, the ground behind the hermit, whereas the ground seems to disappear here. So is this a hill? We don't know. Notice the hair. The Artisan Tarot decided to keep the hair color gray here, whereas the hair turns background color, or skin color even, in the Flornoy deck. Beautiful, beautiful cards though, aren't they? I love the color palette of the Artisan Tarot. And here we go with La Robe de Fortune. And you'll notice that they kept the way this D and E of the de in both decks are kind of melded into one letter, right? La Robe de Fortune. Now, Artisan Tarot cleaned up the line work on the frame for the wheel, although they did keep this weird funky thing where the circle goes around, and then, I don't know, it looks like it spirals into this creature here, just like it does in this one, right? So they kept that. They didn't change everything, right? They cleaned up the things that look like they should be cleaned up according to their eye, but they kept some of the incongruities as well, which is wonderful, which is absolutely wonderful. For example, what's going on here with the kind of donkey figure going up the wheel? What's going on down there? Is that a tail? Is that some kind of clothes covering to a cloak to the donkey? Who knows? What Artisan Tarot did was made it make more sense. We can see a very sensible looking blanket tied onto this creature with legs and a tail. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? This makes less sense to us. We've got the blue peeking in at the bottom here on both decks. Love the figure at the top, yeah? Beautiful expression on their face, although this face looks just a little thinner than this face, doesn't it? Lovely, lovely decks, both of them. Okay, so here we go with force. We don't get any articles with force, just force. Yeah, no le force, just force. Number 11. You'll notice that the interior of the mouth of this lion is a little bit different. Yeah, we can see through the teeth of this lion, whereas we just get red here. Again, artist's choice. Artists' decisions on how to clean up the facsimiles that they were looking at. Or the originals that they were looking at, I should say. Sorry, originals that they were looking at. You'll notice that the overgarment on the woman here is all gray, whereas we've got kind of a light blue and then perhaps an overskirt or an apron here. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Interesting that they've decided to keep... Notice this pinkish color and this pinkish color matches this salmon and this salmon for the lions. Beautiful cards. Beautiful cards. Okay, so we have one of my favorites. Look at the expression on le pendu. Le pendu. We kept the dot after pendu. We got the color differences between the left and the right trees, trunks. We've got another color for the top branch. We've got, look at that tongue sticking out of this guy and the fingers. Yeah, a total... Look, to me, this looks like a mocking gaze. Like, I know something you don't, and neener, neener, neener. That's what I see to this pendu. I don't see a dead person hanging. I see somebody who got something, who realized something that they know that the rest of the world doesn't know, and is playful. I love that expression. I love the fingers going meh, doing the down there at the bottom. It's just hilarious to me. You'll notice that there's this little pinkish patch here, which is not here, which is a little bit suggestive of perhaps a cod piece to me here, which is gone here. So there is that. Not that either is better than the other, but just a difference. Okay. My favorite card, Le Pendu dans la Lune. Okay, so La Morte. Lovely, lovely death cards. Lovely, lovely death cards. And you'll notice that in the original, this card is named. So another reason why this is considered a 0 deck. Not a type 1, not a type 2, but a type 0. It is in and of itself. But you'll notice we got the skirting on the death. We got the blades. Here it's green and light blue. Here we have navy or dark blue and light blue. Lovely. We've got the flower at the elbow. Lovely expressions on the faces of the skin-covered skulls, right? Look at these figures down here at the bottom. They don't look all that unhappy for severed heads, do they? Okay, let's move on to number 14. Temperance. L'Emperor. Now you'll see, l'Emperance. It's not temperance, it's l'Emperance. Interesting, isn't it? And we see additive numbering here. Instead of XIV, it's XIII, XIII. We've got gray water coming pouring between the two vessels instead of light blue. But it matches the choice for the rest of the color, right? We've got light blue, we've got gray and gray. So it was a color choice, continuity, right? Love the little is that a floral headpiece or is it something else? It kind of looks like maybe red jade, maybe. Don't know. Love the wings on our figure, our angelic figure. We don't get a hint of water down here, which is a little bit too bad, but you know, it's not a make or break deal, right? Again, artists have their own ways of seeing what they're looking at. When they look at these old, kind of muddy, difficult to distinguish originals. And there aren't many originals left of the Noblet. So there's not much to compare. Le Diable, look at that devil. I love this devil in the type 1, type 0 decks. Le Pipi, we've got a face in the stomach. We've got little round breasts. We've got two imps, maybe demon figures with little horse feet and looking like they have female genitalia. Although, to me, their faces look masculine. Do these faces look masculine? Male, I'm sorry, not masculine, but male to you? The faces look male and the body parts at the bottom look female to me. So who knows? Transgender? Maybe. You know, we can all see what we want to see, and we get hits from looking at this art, especially since it's non-conformative, right? It doesn't conform to our expectations in so many ways. Look at the knees on this devil figure. And these little clumpy, somewhat bird-like feet. Just the cutest things. And I love the dots on the wings as well. And this is just fabulous, right? Okay, so La Maison Dieu, La Maison Dieu. Okay, so we got one figure looking like they're crawling out of the bottom. We got one figure that's fallen. The hair on this figure here has been, I would say, cleaned up. Yeah, so we see that there's fire bursting out of the tower here, right? Which is typical of type 1 or type 0 decks. There's this red bit here, which we don't have here, which is interesting. Let's see. So yeah, beautiful decks. Except for the color choice and this being gone, they're pretty much the same, right? Here we go to card number 18, Les Trois. And we've got a color variation here from the face to the rest of the body skin. The red breasts, the red nipples on the breasts. We got water flowing into the water and water flowing on land in both. No birds in this deck, right? There's no bird on the tree. The stars up there, lovely, lovely. And instead of, Artisan Tarot decided to get rid of the red in the ground. Keep it all navy, green, and gray. So beautiful. Love the hair on this star card. Okay, and moving on to La Lune. Isn't that lovely? Wonderful. We see perhaps the rain, the energy coming out of a front-facing moon, which is typical of type 1, I believe. We've got the crustacean. Instead of having pink legs, we've got all of them red. Instead of a green butt to the tail, we've got a red tail. So this makes a little bit more sense. However, we do keep that yellow here, which might be the moon shining onto the water. We got two different colored animals with their red tongues sticking out to lap up some energy, rain, whatever we want to call this stuff coming down from the sky. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, and the sun, le soleil. Yeah. Looking a little bit older than some in some decks, these two figures look like children. These look more like perhaps teenagers to me. One perhaps a bit more clothed than the other. One figure could be female, one male, if that's what you want to see. We've got a skirt on this figure here. We've got a sun that looks a little bit bored with everything, to me. I love the multicolored bricks in the background. You notice that Artisan Tarot decided to see this light blue going down the leg. We've got the gray going down the leg, and then we've got we've got a salmon skin tone perhaps, but we don't have a salmon skin tone to the face. Yeah, the faces are the pink, and the rest of the body is this somewhat salmon color, right? But we do keep the blue below the feet here. Yeah, is it a shadow? Is it water? Here we go with le jugement. And here again we have the I substituting for the J, le jugement. Latin spelling, perhaps. And we have 3 figures. You'll notice here we've got very, very light faces, whereas the Flornoy deck kept the face and the body colors the same. Love the horn and the flags here. We've got 3 different colors, I should say, on the flags. We've got the blue cross, we've got the salmon and the gold. Here we have kind of a pinkish and a gold, beigeish pinkish color. Beigeish pinkish. That is the color of this deck. That is the color of the Flornoy. Beigeish pinkish. Okay, more beige, I should say. And here we go with Le Monde. Yeah. Now, Artisan Tarot decided to keep the body all one color instead of keeping this yellowish leg. The cloak, the back of the cloak is all one color in the Artisan Tarot deck. It's easier to tell what is background ground here and what is animal. Easier to tell than in the Flornoy deck. You got the same color of body and face for the lion, whereas there's the light blue and that beigeish color for the lion in the Flornoy. Love, love, love this world card. What do you see? Do you see a male figure? Do you see a female figure? Do you see an androgynous figure? People see different things when they look at this deck. And I think that's one of the wonderful things of the Noblet. And, okay, so we're getting into the minors. So here we have the Ace of Wands. Yeah, beautiful. Except for color choices, no change, right? And the Two of Wands. I should say baston, right? But I'm going to continue with wands, if that's okay. The Three of Wands. That's very, very, almost exactly the same. You'll notice that there's a little bit of a difference in the curvature of the floral decoration here, but that's just because every artist's hand moves a little bit differently. Neither is better than the other. But basically the same, right? And here we have the 4. You'll notice that the wands, we can see between the wands here and we can see between the wands here. However, in the Flornoy, we cannot see through the wands here. That light blue fills in the whole space, whereas here we can see through the wands here as well. Although we do retain the red patch in the center, which I appreciate. I love that. So number 4. Number 5, look at that. Again, in the Artisan Tarot deck, we can see between the wands here, whereas the Flornoy keeps the light blue. Let's look at the 6. Here we go. Okay, so 6 is in the correct order. Let me double check with the 4. Was the 4 in correct order as well? Oh, that's right. Yes, the 4 was additive. So, okay, 6, 7. Look at that. Now, you'll notice there is a difference here, right? The 7, we've got one freaky little red dot here and none there. Whereas here, this dot should not be there. This patch should be here, 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 and here, right? To match the other, let's see, the other, well, we'll see it in a minute. I'll show you in the next ones. Whereas Artisan Tarot decided to fix that. You know, we got the red in these patches and we can see the wands continued in a woven pattern. Okay, let me set that aside. And here we go. Okay, so here we have a red dot here instead of the red patches between the woven wands. Yeah, we lose that red here. Okay, so I made a liar of myself. So the Flornoy keeps that one dot here in the center and goes to that light blue sections between the wands as we move up. Whereas Artisan Tarot makes more sense of the weaving pattern here. And then we have the 10 of Wands. Beautiful cards, right? Lovely. And the Valet de Baston. Love this deck. You can see that the line here at the hair, the borderline is missing, whereas Artisan Tarot filled it in. The line work on Artisan Tarot is even more delicate, more refined than the Flornoy decks, I believe. Yeah? The line work is clear, it's crisp, but it's also thin, whereas the line work here is a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier. Just a little bit. Right? In the face, we don't see it as much. But here in the cloak, for example, and around the wand, and at the legs. Look at these huge fingers here. And notice, yes, that's right. Notice, this arm would have to be freakishly long for this to be coming out of this shoulder, right? On both decks. This arm is always just a little bit funny to me. Okay, here we go for the Shavaria de Baston. Details on the armor are both lovely. The belly of the horse is the same as the color of the rest of the horse in both decks, which is wonderful. I love the expression on the horse's face and the expression on the knight's face as well. Is the horse looking at the wand, do you think? Or is the horse looking off into the distance? It looks like the knight is checking out their own wand, right? But the horse, it's hard to tell. Is the horse looking at the wand too, or looking just back where they came from? Or seeing who or what is following? Here we go, the Reine de Baston, the Queen of Wands, and look at the little red nipples on her cloak. Is this cloak see-through? Are those her real nipples? It couldn't be her real nipples, right? Because, well, they're not in the right place, for one. But if they are, well, the body shapes on this deck, we can't say are 100% accurate anatomical, right? So maybe they are her breasts. Maybe they are her nipples. That's so funny. Love the expression on her face. I love her crown as well. And her hair. Look at those locks, those long, long locks. Very wealthy looking. And here we have the Roi de Baston, the King of Wands. Yeah, the wand poking his own foot. I love that. Retained in both. It's interesting here. We've got the gold coming up above the crown, whereas we can see the background through the crown in the Artisan Tarot deck. Love the way they treated the floor here. Now that salmon, echoing the salmon here, and the salmon here, and the salmon here, and the salmon here. We got this similar echoes here. We have that beige color here, here, and then up here as well. So just different color choices. And here we go with the Ace of Cups. Lovely. Instead of the gold, we've got green here. Now, it's a little bit dark for my eyes, which makes this a little bit more difficult to see than this element. However, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just a little bit more difficult for me to see. But love the aces in both of these cups, in both of these decks. I love the aces of cups in both of these decks. That's English. Okay, here we go. Jean Noblet. The Jean, spelled with an I in both. Jean Noblet of Fave, Bourse Saint-Germain. So maybe Boris Saint-Germain, maybe. Yeah, Jean Noblet, made by Boris Saint-Germain. Or okay, so I'm talking out of my posterior right now. I'm just reading and trying to figure it out. Love both of these cards. I love the expressions on the faces of these, whatever they are. Are they little dragons? Are they, some people say they're fish. I don't see fish, but I love the tongue sticking out. Okay, 3 of Cups. Except for color variation, color choice differences, all the same. We've got gray inside of the cups instead of green. But yeah, beautiful cards. The 4 of Cups. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. The 5 of Cups. There's a softness, okay, a different kind of softness to the color palette in the Artisan Tarot deck. Yeah, there's the softness to the Flornoy is that the background is a darker color, and so the whole card has a less stark feel. However, the colors chosen to be placed on the white seem softer in the Artisan Tarot deck, if that makes sense. Yeah, this gold is brighter than this gold, even though the contrast between the gold and the white is stronger here, and the contrast between this gold and the background color is less. Does that make sense? Okay, the 6. I love the 6 of Cups. It's one of my favorite small cards, because I love the layout of these 6 cups with this floral in the center, in all decks actually, all Tarot de Marseille. But I love this in particular. And the 7, look at that. Look at the way the plant holds, embraces the central cup. And the 8 of Wands. You notice as the cups get smaller, we have smaller amounts of color inside of them. Now we got this black and red together. We had that in the 7 as well. And the 6. And the 5. But the area is smaller. Okay. Here we have the 9. Love the 9s of Cups as well. To me, this is not a wish card. I don't look at this as the wish card. Yeah, I look at this as something entirely different. 9s to me are generally, now it depends on the reading, it depends on what's around them, but 9s to me are generally where things break down before we end the suit. Yeah, 8s are that last push to the finish. 9s are where things start to break apart and break down before we end on the 10. And speaking of the 10, here we go with the 10. Love this. Now, Flornoy decided to go with green and red here as for the cup pouring into the others, whereas here we've got gray and red. But lovely cards, right? Oh, you'll notice here, I didn't notice, so there are no dots here, but notice the dots on up and above and below the X's on the sides. Okay, so here we have the Valet de Coupe. Love the leggings, love the ties at the bottoms of the leggings. And you'll notice this thing, is it a hat? Or is it it looks like a hat, because it looks like even though the valet's cloak is covering the top of the chalice, it looks like there's already a cover on the chalice, right? Love the expressions on their faces. Love look at the slitted sleeves. Very fashionable page, right? And the Knight of Cups with what could be a sombrero. It could be something entirely different at their back. Maybe a shield. But the cup open, being held up before their eyes. We've got the horse looking down, looking a little bit playful perhaps, or about to, maybe the horse is about to rear up. Maybe the horse is about to leap forward. You'll notice this looks like a broken glass thing here on this leg. Has changed into a very clear looking star on the Artisan Tarot deck. Can you see that? Can you see that star there? Yeah, I think you can. It's an interesting decision to clean this up. And looks like a kind of a star tattoo on the horse's leg, doesn't it? Okay, here we go with the Queen of Cups, Roi de Coupe. Yeah. Now this overhang here is a little difficult to understand because of the color separation, perhaps. But that's probably from the original. Here it's a little easier to understand for me. It looks like this might be a rod, maybe, that this is holding this up. And this perhaps is the fabric that comes up the inside of the fabric, and this is the outside of the fabric hanging down in front of the queen's crown. Yeah, she's protected a little bit. Both of them are holding a wand, although this wand is all one color instead of being a spiral of beige and black. Love the orb of the cup for both queens. Just lovely. Just lovely, both of them. Okay, so moving on to the king. Both have open cups. Yeah, this king has red inside of his cup, whereas this king has blue inside of his cup. But both basically the same pose, same glance off to our right, his left perhaps. Similar hats, which encompass the crown. Similar tile floor. Not much change in this king's clothes, just a color choice difference, yeah? The queen's clothes were cleaned up a little bit. These are, okay, we have one thing. Here we have that beigeish color, we have gold and a little red knob. Here it looks more like one continuous tassel that comes from the belt down here with a tassel at the end. Okay, and here we go to the Ace of Coins, denier. Lovely, absolutely beautiful. And the two, we have Jean, okay, let's see. The direction of the writing is different, or is it just... Okay, so yeah, we've just decided differently what is top and what is bottom. So, let me turn this one around. Let me match this one with this one. So we have Jean Noblet, DMT of Faubourg Saint-Germain. Jean Noblet, DMT. Okay, so I've forgotten what this all means. Yeah, you get Boris Saint-Germain, Jean Noblet, DMT of Fav. DMT, I've forgotten what the DMT means. Made by Boris Saint-Germain, or made in Boris... Okay. Moving right along. I am confusing myself. Okay, so here we go with the Three of Coins. No, okay, so there is... Okay, so... Looks like our coins decorations are... Oh, this one was upside down, too. Interesting. Okay, so here we have the three. Number here on the side. We've got the two flowers hanging down, the two at the bottom. This is up right side up. I don't know how this got turned upside down. I don't read reversals with the Noblet. Here we go with the 4. This is right side up. I don't know. Anyways, here's the 4. Love the shields in the center. The coats of arms. The 5. Yeah, except for color choice, the same. And here we go with the 6. I love the 6s of coins. I love this kind of wheel formation that they have. The 7 of coins. Love the 3 at the top and 4 at the bottom. Stability and breakthrough. All together. Breakthrough from stability, perhaps. And we have the 8. Love the 8s. Very, very structured looking card, right? And then, okay, so I do see a difference here. Yeah. Notice this one green little leaf here. We have green, light blue, and gold. We have gold, gold, gray. So this gray matches this light blue, right? Oh, we also have little red and blue here. Whereas these, the Artisan Tarot decided to keep both red, both gold. So some little differences in decisions on coloration, even in the minors. Here we have the nines. Again, I love the way the floral arrangement embraces the central coin. And the tens of coins. Look at the beautiful, beautiful cards. Look at that. And again, you notice that, okay, here in the 10, we do see the 2 dots, and the 2 dots are here as well. Moving to Le Valet de Denier. Love the valets in Tarot de Marseille. Love especially the Valet de Denier. Coin on the ground, 1 in the hand, looking off to the side. Lovely. Look at the gentleness, the curve of the hands. Love the cloak, what do we call this? It's not a bodice in a man. It's called let's call it a jacket. There's another name for this. And it's not coming to me. But we have the leggings. Lovely, lovely clothing. And the Chevalier de Bâton, de Denier. Love the plants on the ground. The colors. Love the expression on the face as well. Looking at this magically floating coin in the air. The wand has been simplified in the Artisan Tarot deck. Instead of having this blue squiggle down the center, it's just one gray wand. But that's not because they're lazy or lacking attention to detail. Look at the detail on the stirrup and the foot going into the stirrup, the spurs at the back. Going on to the queen. Royale de Denier. Look at that. Look at her. Look at her refined face. Her scepter. Holding the substantial coin in her hand. Yeah? The clothes in the Artisan Tarot deck are cleaned up. Easier to see. Yeah? Like, what is this light blue stripe going down here? It doesn't match anything in her clothes. Yeah? It's all cleaned up, let's say. Simplified in the Artisan Tarot deck. Love her crown in both decks and her hair. And you'll notice the little red jewel, perhaps, at the end of the scepters. Smaller in the Artisan Tarot deck than it is in the Flornoy deck, but it's still there. The crown is also cleaned up. Notice the line work here is not complete in the Flornoy deck. Probably not in the original that they saw as well, either. The king, Roi de Denier, with this little 4-dot embellishment or detail, decorative detail at the end. And looks like my little king of coins got a little dinged here. I wonder how that happened. Not a big problem. But it's interesting that these dots are not so clear. Not as clear as they are on the Flornoy deck. Love his crown. Love his hat. Yeah, this line work is all cleaned up. It's beautiful. And this gold band here doesn't really make sense. This makes much more sense. His gray beard and his hair, instead of light blue, gray perhaps makes more sense. Love that they've cleaned or finished the legs on this chair. This chair has one set of legs here and nothing over there. Very strange, right? Here we have an additional set of legs drawn in. And we go to the final suit of swords. Da-da-da! The Ace of Swords. Lovely. Okay, so we see that this branch has been completed, whereas it kind of goes a little wonkus here. This branch goes up here and then kind of disappears, and this branch goes up here and kind of disappears. And what's happening here? Now, it's all been cleaned up in the Artisan Tarot deck. Made more sense of. And here we go with the Two of Swords. Look at that. Lovely. The Three of Swords. Da-da-da-da. And I think the swords are all going to be gray. The odd-numbered swords are all going to be gray instead of light blue. From what I recall of the Noblet, and I'm the Flornoy deck, The odd number swords are all the same color, I believe. The Four of Swords. Love that flower in the center. The five. Okay, so I made myself a liar. Yeah, we got a red sword, deep red, very, very deep red, almost maroon in the Artisan Tarot deck, whereas this one's a fairly standard red color in the Flornoy. Here we have the seven. I'm sorry, the six. Seven. The Six of Swords. And the VI is correct in both decks. Yes, both decks. Some decks, the order of the V and the I's are weird, are wrong. But not in this deck. And I don't believe in the Noblet, the original Noblet. Here we have the seven, like another red sword. Although it is interesting that this hilt seems longer than this hilt, doesn't it? The handguard for the hilt, I should say. And the Eight of Swords, look at that. Lovely. The Nine of Swords. Notice that we can see through the weaving pattern here. Whereas again, the light blue just fills in all the gaps in the Flornoy. Now, we could see through all of the weaving pattern in the Artisan Tarot deck. I should have said that earlier. Whereas in the Flornoy, we cannot see through the weaving pattern in the other cards. Yeah, the weave pattern at the top and the bottom are filled in with light blue. Although we do see the sword sticking through on the odd numbered cards in both decks. And we go with the 10. Well, I can count. We have the 10 of Swords. And Flornoy colored all of these in with gold, whereas Artisan Tarot left the background color between the swords, right? Which makes a little bit more sense, does it not? Okay, the Valet de Paix. Good job. Great job on both of these. Love that we've got the perhaps codpiece here underneath the tunic. That's what this is called, a tunic. Notice that this is a salmon color, but in other parts of the deck, salmon is also representative of a skin color as well, so that's interesting. Here we have that same face and hand skin color. In the when I say here, right now I'm talking about the Flornoy. Yep, the ties at the knees, under the knees, on the breeches. Just beautiful, beautiful. Dot at the end of the Valet d'Espée. And Chevalier d'Espée. Look at that card. Now, we noticed that the Artisan Tarot group decided to fill in the shoulder plate here, whereas we've just got this funky little red dot there, which is a little odd, right? Red dot here at where the feather attaches to the helmet, which is cool. We got blue hooves on the horses. The stirrup and the feet and the legs are pretty clear to see on both decks. It is interesting that we have two beige legs and two blue legs, whereas here we have two salmon legs and two gray legs. I mean, the color choice, but it's interesting that in both decks and in the original, the horse legs have different colors and not consistent, not like the farther away ones are the darker color and the nearer ones are lighter color. They're just a little odd, a little wonkus. Oh, also we noticed that the Artisan Tarot group decided to continue the color of this red throughout the whole blanket, whereas we got the red, we got the kind of beige color. It's a little odd, right? A little difficult to see. And the Royale de Paix, the Queen of Swords. Let me put these up together. And again, Artisan Tarot cleaned up the coloration of the clothes, of the garments for the Queen. The Queen's garments are the most odd of all the garments in the deck. We got a sword, we got a hand over what could be a pregnant belly, maybe not. Her face is easier to see here than her face is here for me, for some reason. Perhaps it's the color of the pink of the skin, maybe, Whereas this beige looks like the beige of the background and her hair. We see a different color hair, we see skin tone, and we have a different color background. Perhaps that's why. Lovely. Lovely. Okay, and the king, the young king of swords. And you'll notice that we've got the gold going up to the top of the borderline here, whereas we've got only gold here, and then the background color at the top, which is odd. This area has been cleaned up by Artisan Tarot. Nice choice. Love that we keep the red at both ends of the little wand-ish thing here in his hand. Not a scepter. Doesn't look like a scepter to me. Looks like a funky little wand into my eyes. And also, the difference of the hair color in the face makes the face a little easier to see. Makes it pop out a little bit more than the face in the Flornoy deck. So that was our last card, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? I think this Artisan Tarot deck is going to be phenomenal. And then we have another card with their website address right there if you want to look right here. But let me pull this away and let me get my deck back together in one pile. Now, some of these right now are going to be reversed, but I do not read with reversals for this deck, just so you know. It's just that the pile got a little bit weird. The pile got a little bit weird there, off to the side. Because, again, this is a small deck. The linen cardstock is a little bit slippery. So when I put the cards off to the side, they got a little bit out of line. Whereas, interestingly, the Flornoy deck, which is more of a card-like cardstock and has a little bit of a grip to it, when I put it off to the side, it didn't slip around, which is actually not such a good thing when it comes to shuffling, right? So let me show you how this shuffles. First, I will do an overhand shuffle so that you can see that. This is the way I do an overhand shuffle. You'll see that these cards are a little bit slippy, and I'm a poor overhand shuffler. Let's see how this works. Okay, so like I said, I'm a poor overhand shuffler, but these shuffle, even for me, fairly easily. Let me do one more for you. I have a feeling that I might have gone out of focus there for you. Just a moment. Let's see. Here we go. Let me try doing it closer to the ground. Now, this is an uncomfortable position for me to be doing this overhand shuffling, and still, I don't have cards flying out of my hand, which is cool, which is good, right? Now, let me show you a riffle shuffle with this. I can smell freshly printed cards. Okay, now I don't have much space here, but still I can do it. Riffle. And even a dinky deck like this, yeah? Even a diddy deck like this, I can almost bridge. I think if I had more space, I would be able to bridge it. But here, let me show you the riffle again. Oops, did not do a good job that time. Again, I don't have much space. My arms are at a weird angle. Let me try standing up, doing it from a standing position. Okay, that works better. Okay, so bridging is not going to be easy with this deck. But however, we do get a very easy riffle shuffle. Let me riffle shuffle once more. And let me pull 3 cards. Because I read Tarot de Marseille, a minimum of 3 cards at once. And my skills are improving, but let me see. What is a message that we would benefit from hearing today? What would it be a message that we would all benefit from hearing today? What is a message we would all benefit from hearing today? What is a message we would all benefit from hearing today? One more riffle, one more overhand. What is a message we would all benefit from hearing today? Stand up, riffle. Okay, sit and overhand. What is the message that we would all benefit from hearing today? What is the message we would all benefit from hearing today? What is the message we would all benefit from hearing today? Okay, let's see how well shuffled this is. I would have normally shuffled much more, but you know, we're just playing here, right? What is the message we would all benefit from hearing today? Okay, 10 of Swords. Chariot. The Chariot. Okay, it's shuffled pretty well, right? Okay, so we've got this guy looking here in the center, and I'm going to take this card as the center. Now, we've got these two things that we want to bring together and move with our will. Now, we've got one horse, the horse of completion of thought. We've got one horse, the horse of stability of resources. So what we want to do, we want to have, we want to be able, to me, this is also being able to bring the mind and the heart together to be able to move on to the next step. So we want to use our willpower, to use our ability to choose and to bring ourselves in line to move forward, and bringing in line our heart and our minds, as well as our resources, our material stability, our health. Bring these together to move forward. Does that make sense? So what we want to do to move forward is bring our hearts and our minds together so that they are in alignment, and our resources, keep them stable, and we'll be able to move forward into our week, into our month, into our year, into the rest of our lives. Now, isn't that one? And look at how beautiful these cards look together. And you'll notice that he's paying more attention to the mind-heart thing than to the financial stability. However, both I think are necessary. We want to bring both horses together, even though we might be putting more attention on our heart-mind alignment. So friends, this is the Noblet. Again, there will be links if you want to see the Artisan Tarot site and perhaps purchase this deck on your own. I'll put a link also to the Flornoy if you want to check out the leather case for their Noblet. And I will put a link to Marilyn at, I forgot the name, I think Artistry of Tarot is correct, but I'll put a link to her channel as well. So friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.